It is a pleasure and an honor to be with my brothers and sisters here. I first wish to congratulate you on this magnificent building. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it a source of barakah for this community. May Allah make it a pillar of light for those who attend it and attend its gatherings and its prayers. May Allah return to those who have contributed their contribution many times over. And may Allah make it a source of reward in the Jannah, as the Prophet has described and promised. وَهُوَ الصَّادِقُ الْمَصْدُوقُ, and he's the one who has always been truthful, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, that the one who establishes a place where Allah is honored with ibadah and worship and salah, a masjid as you have established in a surah, that for them is a place, a mansion, an abode of eternal joy in Jannah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it so. I wish to honor all of my elders, Jazakumullah khair, my dear brother Yahya, Allah yahfadhu, who invited me, and I'm sorry that myself and Sheikh Omar Suleiman are a little bit late. It was always in our intention to come and visit you today, and it is the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we were able to make our dhuhr and asr. We're travelers, I'm leaving on a flight in a few hours in your masjid. So I actually delayed my asr because I wanted to pray with you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wrote that for us, alhamdulillah. I wish to give just 3 words of advice. The first of them is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran. That those who make the amal, يَعْمُرُ مَسَاجِدَ اللَّهِ مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ, are those who are habitual in coming to the masjid, are those who have certainty of faith in Allah and certainty in the final day. And therefore one of the signs that Allah is pleased with you is that your heart loves this place. And that when you're away from it, you remember it. You even have a special place. Right now, if I describe to you, I have a place in my masjid in Perth that is my favorite place to pray in. Whenever I come, the first place I walk to, this is my place. It's my spot. And if someone's praying there, I wait maybe until they finish, so I push them out of the way, right? And the Prophet ﷺ was like that. One of the pillars in the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ, if you enter into the Rawdah, at the top you will see a green circle, and in it is written, Ustuwanat Aisha. This is the post of Aisha. And Aisha retold the story that the Prophet used to love ﷺ praying in one place in his masjid, that he said to her, to pray there is better than the world and what's in it. And that became that spot. Aisha, she said to her brother Abdul Rahman, this is where the Prophet liked to pray. So her brother used to always pray there, right? So there's a special attachment to the masjid. And the 7, those who will be given shade by Allah, protection by Allah, on the Day of Judgment, one of the 7 types of people, a person qalbuhu, whose heart is attached to the masjid. So if you want to be from those who have true belief in Allah and the final day, you know whether you have it or not by how much you attend the jama'ah, how much you attend the masjid, how much your heart remembers these sacred places and spaces. The second word of advice is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فِي بُيُوتٍ أَذِنَ اللَّهُ أَنْ يُرْفَعَ وَيُذْكَرَ فِيهَا اسْمُهُ. In the houses of Allah, it is the place where Allah has given the order and instruction for His name and dhikr to be proclaimed. One of the beautiful hadith in Bukhari, or in Muslim, is Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, one of the early people who accepted Islam. He said, when I would come late to the jama'ah, and the Prophet had already finished the prayer, before I came into the masjid, I could hear the buzzing of bees. The Sahaba were already, they finished the salah, so everyone was, it was like the buzzing of bees. يُذْكَرَ فِيهَا اسْمُهُ. So when we're here, we have moments of happiness and joy, and alhamdulillah, makan, and all of this. But the basis of it is the dhikr of Allah. And dhikrullahi akbar, the greatest reminder of Allah, the prayers and so on, that is the greatest reminder that we have of Allah. So always busy yourself with the study of our deen, alhamdulillah, sitting on your, in front of the imam to learn and acquire the thing that will keep your heart steadfast. May Allah continue this for you until we return to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the third and final advice before I ask my brother Sheikh Omar Suleiman to share with you just 2 or 3 minutes of his time, inshallah, is the joy of a person who returns to Allah with brightness in their face. And in the authentic hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, he says to us that I will recognize you because you will have light coming from the places of your wudu. And many of the Imams, and Imam al-Nawawi, when he comments on this hadith, he says one of the things that is established is that the light from wudu and salah is what will make you shine before Allah on that day of judgment. So whenever you come to this masjid, remember that as you have come and purified yourself, the minutes and the hours that you have spent, Allahumma bayyid bihi wujuhana. Oh Allah, brighten our faces with it on the day of judgment. When you put your face into the earth, it doesn't darken. It gets lighter and brighter and more radiant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whenever you have that connection and that sila with Allah, in your salah and in your attachment to this blessed place, you will find that your heart becomes more at ease. And that's really the inner meaning of that ayah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبُ. It's not just simply subhanallah walhamdulillah, but it is this collective effort of attending the jama'ah, fulfilling our salah, coming to the ilm, memorizing from the Quran, and spending whatever time that we are able with our families in this blessed place. May Allah increase its barakah, and may Allah make good come from this place that reaches far beyond its boundaries. وصلى اللهم وسلم وزد وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. I invite my dear brother, Sheikh Omar. Allah yubarik.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Sheikh Yahya, mashallah, laid the groundwork for something that is very important, that the masjid becomes our home as well. The Prophet ﷺ says that the masjid is the home of every believer. The masjid is the home of every believer. He did not say that the masjid is the home of a certain tribe. He didn't say that the masjid is the home of men only. He didn't say that the masjid is the home of the Arabs. He says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it's the home of every believer. And Shaykh Yahya alluded to something very powerful. He alluded to, this person whose heart is attached to the masjid and finds themselves under the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's throne on the day of judgment, and there's no shade except for His. One of my favorite commentaries on this hadith about the 7 that are shaded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that they all work together. Meaning what? The first person that's shaded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Imam al-Adil, a just ruler. And typically, a just ruler allows for the religion to flourish, allows for the masajid to grow and to recognize or to realize their full potential. Whereas a zalim, an oppressor, always targets the religious centers to make sure that the people do not grow too close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and become too conscious of their Lord, which would make them too conscious of the things that they owe to society and their ideals and their values. So Imam al-Adil, a just ruler, allows for the growth of religion in society and people to become more socially aware. And when you talk about a young person that grows up in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how can a young person grow up in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without a center, without the masjid? This is their home and this is where that takes place. And when you talk about two people that meet for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, two people that love each other for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that develop that relationship, they meet and they part from one another on the basis of that love that they have for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Where will they be meeting and parting from one another? Except for the masajid, the centers where they come to meet, where they come for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then of course a person whose heart is attached to the masjid. Now what happens when you have that social structure? You have brothers and sisters that hold you accountable, that you love, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the masjid is your home, what happens now when you go back to your private, your private life, and when you find yourself in a position where it is easy to sin? The Prophet ﷺ mentioned a young man that is called by a woman of great beauty and status to commit haram, and he says, I fear Allah. And that doesn't just apply now to the concept of zina, of adultery, but in the wider sense that a person finds themselves privately being called to a sin and it's convenient to commit that sin. But they say, I fear Allah. The seed of consciousness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was planted in their hearts in a way that they could deal with those difficult situations. And what happens to that person when they give sadaqah? Where are they called to give sadaqah? Except for through the pulpits and through the masajid and through these Islamic causes. What motivates them to become disconnected from this world and to instead invest in their hereafter? Except for the masajid, when the Prophet ﷺ mentions a person whose right hand gives so generously that the left hand does not know. So it's so sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The hand is free-flowing in giving in sadaqah. And even the left hand does not know. That person conceals their charity even in those moments. The point is, dear brothers and sisters, the masjid becomes the center of our lives, just like Allah becomes the center of our lives. So the house of Allah becomes our house. The command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes our desire. The will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes our pleasure. Right? So all of these things synchronize and they become central. So we ask Allah to make the masjid beloved to us, to make His home our home. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam beloved to us to follow. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this place a place that would testify for us on the Day of Judgment. We ask Allah to put barakah in this masjid and bless your community.